Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. The headlines. The Human Rights Commission claims Zambia is ready to abolish the death penalty. ECZ refutes allegations on leadership vacuum. Parliamentarians commit to enact disability-friendly laws. And in international news, Rwandan forces display confidence amid precarious security situation in Mozambique. And in sports, the Zambian football community devastated by MWEPU'S retirement on medical grounds. Details coming through after this commercial.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, ZAMBIA is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. ZAMBIA Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think ZAMBIA Farms.
Prime plots filled with beautiful views are now available for sale in Palavana. They will have tarred roads, electricity, water, golf course, 24-hour security, and more. They are on title and you can view them. With a standard 20% initial deposit, you will already be on your way to owning land Kumayard. We have 40 by 25 meters going for 240,000 and our 50 by 42 going for 300,000. Both have flexible payment plans. They are located 28 kilometers from Crossroads Mall and 16 kilometers from New Kasama's Boom Gate along Leopards Hill Road. For viewings, purchases, and inquiries, call the numbers on the screen.
And now the main news in detail. Sidco Zambia International Limited has fired about 60 workers and instantly replaced them after they protested, demanding for salary increments. In an interview with Camnet News, the affected workers have lamented that their salaries have never been adjusted since 2016 and that their salaries do not correspond with the amount of work they do. Clever Samundevu said this is not the first time that the company is firing employees for simply airing their grievances, but that this has been happening for quite some time. Meanwhile, company Human Rights Mubita Nyambe was contacted for a comment, expressed ignorance about the matter.
At the end of the day, when those contracts they are due, we don't get anything.
These are former employees of Sidco Zambia International Limited, a company that prides itself as one of the country's leading player in the agriculture sector. The workers who last week Friday protested demanding that the company attends to their grievances, among them low wages, have now become jobless after being fired and instantly replaced. According to the former employees, their salaries have never been adjusted since 2016 and that they have never gotten paid their gratuities, adding that whoever tries to engage the company over the matter is instantly dismissed.
My salaries because it has been 43 kwacha for a long time, since 2016, so I bought it. So there's a time Karabana group that are Zangena company Tibwanji, Tikambera management kuti tikire kondrama. In which wanatuza ati after tangera mkatu zinakambisa na watuza ati no, we shall get back to you in 2 weeks time. First management in Kali. The very day after lunch stay wanabawa tu mama supervisors kutuza ati management ya kana tisipanga kuikire nchani, tisipanga kuikire drama. So ndiye mweti nankalira. Up to today ipetaganiza futi kanamba tu kutata Tieti ngaleko na ka protest aba bantu batikireko ndrama lero manje tuzi bati manchito yasira just because tachita protest to say batikireko ndrama vintu vonse pakwera.
Been working for this company from 2016, meanwhile even from 2002 working for this company. We are given contract that we are not even given benefits at the end of those contracts. Have you seen? And then today, just because of complaining about simple issue, we are told that it's the government that you chose, that you voted for, that has blocked this management.
The aggrieved employees have also lamented that the company has been deducting their salaries whenever it buys them personal protective equipment when it is a duty of the company to provide them with PPEs.
Telling us that for you to manage to have an overtime, you need to have 48 hours in a week. Okay? This very time last year, each one of us here at least we are getting a 2,500 last year. But because of these 48 hours, it is like now it is oppressing us. Instead of getting that amount, we are getting 900. Where are we going to go as youths if we are getting 900? Where are we going to go if we are getting 1,100? Where are we going to go? If we speak out, we are chased. We speak out, we are chased. And when someone, a relevant authority comes in, they hide us in stacks. They don't want people to see us.
Meanwhile, Area Councillor Clement Machiyaba, who was in the area to offer solidarity to the affected workers, says he has tried to engage the company over the matter, but that he was informed that the said employees have already been replaced and that so many people are seeking for jobs, adding that whoever is not happy with what is being offered should leave the company.
Even now I'm coming from Sidiko there to try to talk to the management about what transpired and also to see the way forward. But from what I've been told is that these guys immediately after the settlement issue when it happened, they were already replaced by other workers. And when you look at this company, this is actually not only the biggest company in this Nakachenje area, but this is the biggest company in the entire country, Zambia. But if the biggest company which we have in Zambia start appearing with this kind of records, actually, it's not sitting well with the government over there.
But SIDCO Human Resource Manager Mobita Nyambe, when contacted for a comment, told this reporter that he is not aware of any employee that has been laid off and demanded that a press query be sent to the company, which he has promised to respond to tomorrow, Thursday, 11th October 2022.
I don't know any workers that have been laid off.
Okay, am I not talking to the HR for SIDCO?
Yes, I am the HR for SIDCO, but I don't remember laying off any workers who have protested. So this is how we're going to do it. Please fill in what is known as a press query, and then we'll respond.
Many employees in Zambia are dying in silence for fear of losing their jobs while getting paid very low salaries despite working for longer hours in multi-million companies. Camnet TV will continue to follow the matter with the relevant authorities to see how the affected workers will be assisted. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Kafue Mayor Bumba Malambo says the 8th HOC committee has undertaken the defining of boundaries between Kafue and Lusaka to curb illegal land allocation that was the order of the day in the past. Reacting to reports that the Kafue Town Council was embroiled in illegal land illegalities, the mayor said she has terminated fake documents that indicate that some individuals are owners of disputed land in Chalala Jigwin's area and has given it to its rightful owners. Camnet TV carried 2 stories over the weekend on the said disputed land where some non-people had subdivided it and threatened owners of the land with violence.
This is the disputed land whose owner is said to have been threatened by alleged UPND cadres. Chinsankane Ward Councillor yesterday visited the site and refuted earlier reports that he was trying to dispossess the land from its rightful owners. He even called the owner of the land and reassured her that he was going to support her against some people trying to encroach on her property.
I'm not happy as an area councillor. This councillor who is coming to start creating plot in my ward without me knowing, let him stop now. Even council secretary, I'm appealing to the commission. Commissioner, Honorable Sejan, Can you remove this council secretary from the council?
However, Kafue town mayor today also visited the parcel of land in question. She says from the onset, her team has been working with the owner of the land to ensure that her property is not encroached. One of the family members of the owner of the land who came on site even displayed some of the correspondence that the family had exchanged with the local authority, confirming that they were the owners of the land.
The Kafue Council had demarcated this land. I immediately wrote to the mayor and seek for guidance to ask how this was possible. And immediately on the very day, she set for me a meeting for me to see the council secretary and the lands of the chair committee. And there they wrote to us a letter confirming that they have not subdivided this land, as this land is private property. So those people who are saying that the council is working, it's subdividing people's land, it's not true. Actually, the Kafue Council is working with us. They've actually helped us to write this letter. We instructed the council secretary to say we needed to help the owners of the land because they had a title. And quickly we had written this letter as a council, this letter, just to show that we had terminated everything, including fake papers that people have been creating, lying that these papers are coming from Kafue Town Council. They make them wherever they make them, and they lie that they have documents from Kafue Town Council. And they even forge the signature of the council secretary who have all those information.
The mayor says our office will not fold their hands and watch people encroaching on private property.
People saying Kafue Town Council is allocating land illegally, that is not right. That is fake information, because as a council what we're doing is to really clean the council, which was, used to do a lot of dirty things. Now we are cleaning it up from scratch, and we will not allow any individual to try and tarnish the good image of the council that we are trying to put up. As Kafue Town Council, especially led by a female council chairperson, we do not allow terrorizing people on their pieces of land. People have to be free wherever they are, and they have to operate in a good environment. And I must state also that there was a lot of confusion between Kafue and Lusaka because of the way the boundaries were. They were not very defined. I'm sure you've seen when you're coming, you've seen the valuation raw posters being put, because now we are defining our boundaries properly, Lusaka and Kafue. People just used to enter, people from Lusaka, people from Kafue, without really proper documentation.
However, he has advised civic leaders to use proper channels when addressing any grievances.
And it's very important that civic leaders, people who live to the Bible, people who say they will uphold the Constitution, should really uphold the Constitution. And there's a good channel of how you can come as a councillor to air your grievances if you have grievances that you feel are happening in your ward. You do not rush to the media, you rush to the council so that the council can come on board now with a technical team and try to work on one or two things. So I can urge civic leaders, especially the councillors, to really go and read their standing orders and constitution and what it says about speaking ill about an institution which you belong to.
It is hoped that the common good of the people will be saved and that this chapter closes any land dispute in Kafue District. Tito Kalama, Camnet News, Kafue District.
Electoral Commissioner of Zambia ECZ Acting Chief Electoral Officer Bob Musenga has charged that there is no vacancy at ECZ as being purported by many stakeholders due to the absence of a chairperson, vice chairperson and chief electoral officer. Speaking during a media briefing Monday, Mr. Musenga explains that despite the seats being vacant, there are individuals acting in those positions, meaning that work does not stall. Responding to journalists, the ECZ acting CEO has declined to comment on the status of the Kabushi and Kwacha constitution by-elections, which are pending, stating that the matter is in court. In June 2022, the contracts of ECZ Chairman Justice Isao Chulu and his vice Emily Skazwe were not renewed, while the Commission in August 2022 parted amicably with Chief Electoral Officer Patrick Nshindano.
The composition of the Commission, ladies and gentlemen, is provided for under Section 5, subsection 5C of the Electoral Commission of Zambia Act. And the Act states that where there is no chairperson the vice chairperson will preside over the proceedings of the commission, and where there is no chairperson and vice chairperson, the members then will choose amongst themselves for someone to preside over the matters of meetings. And therefore, arising from this legal provision, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to inform you and other stakeholders that there is no vacuum in the operations of the Commission. We would like to inform you and other stakeholders that there is no vacuum in the operations of the Commission. Additionally, the Secretariat, which is headed by the Chief Electoral Officer, is fully functional and currently headed by the Acting Chief Electoral Officer, who is fully supported by other directors. The by-elections for Kabushi and Kwacha constituencies were scheduled to take place on 15th September 2022. The Commission will make a pronouncement on the matter anytime soon, and stakeholders will be updated.
Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate David Chiwili has halted proceedings before him in which 3 honeybee pharmacy directors are charged with uttering a false document, and has referred the matter to the High Court for determination. In the previous court session, the 3 honeybee directors, namely Zakia Hussein Motala, Abdurufa Matala and Imran Lunant, argued that they cannot be prosecuted twice for a similar offense, alleging that they were acquitted in 2021 by the court on the same allegation.
Their plea to have the case referred to the Lusaka's High Court for determination of whether they can be prosecuted twice has been granted. The Lusaka's Magistrate Court Monday morning staged proceedings against 3 honeybee directors, Zakai Motala, Aduruf Motala, and Imarin Lunat, and referred the matter to the High Court for determination. The court has also permitted the trio to refer the question of whether the prosecutions of the Constitution have been complied with in the proceedings to the Constitutional Court. The trio, who are accused of uttering a false document to obtain a contract from the Ministry of Health in 2021, earlier requested the lower court to set them at liberty, arguing that they were already acquitted between 2020 and 2021 on the same allegations, hence cannot be prosecuted twice on the similar offense. Defense counsel Tutu Nguluwe submitted that the trio, including the company Honeybee, were issued with certificate of acquittal and were ready to proceed the same before the court has evidence. However, in responding to their application, the state opposed, stating that the trio never took plea and no court tried them, as the same matter was withdrawn before a consent from the Director of Public Prosecution was obtained. And in delivering ruling, Chief Resident Magistrate David Chimbuli dismissed the trio's application and allowed them to take plea, a ruling that the 3 accused refused to take, but asked the court to refer the matter to the High Court for determination and the Constitutional Court for interpretation of the questions they raised, an application which has been granted this morning by the court. Has so far the matter before the lower court has been stayed until the Constitutional Court and High Court make a ruling. The 3 accused persons are alleged to have between January 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019 in Lusaka, jointly and whilst acting together with persons unknown, knowingly and fraudulently uttered a false document, namely a recommendation letter from ADRA Malawi and audited financial statement for honeybee farmers to the Ministry of Finance as supporting document for the bid under procurement tender number MOH/SP/032/19, purporting that the said document were genuine when in fact not. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In other news, the Constitutional Court has postponed a ruling it was scheduled to render Monday morning on whether or not to order the Electoral Commission of Zambia to hold the suspended Kabushi and Kwacha by-elections within 90 days as prescribed by the law, following an application filed by the Attorney General to join the proceedings. This is in a matter in which Green Party President Peter Sinkamba and governance activist Isaac Mwanza wants the court to compel ECZ to conduct fresh nominations and elections on the 27th of October in Kabushi and 2nd November in Kwacha.
This morning, the 10th of October 2022, the Constitutional Court was scheduled to render a judgment on whether or not to order the Electoral Commission of Zambia to hold the suspended Kabushi and Kwacha by-elections within 90 days as prescribed by the law. However, the much-awaited ruling has been postponed to a date to be communicated following the decision by the Attorney General to apply to be joined to the proceedings. The state, who filed an application of jointer this morning in a case in which Green Party President Peter Sinkamba and governance activist Isaac Mwanza have petitioned ECZ, says the matter borders on public interest. Mr. Sinkamba and Mwanza wants, among other reliefs, for the court to compel the Electoral Commission of Zambia to conduct fresh nominations and elections on the 27th of October in Kabushi and the 2nd of November in Kwacha.
No by-election takes place within that 90 days, according to our constitution, there is not going to be any election. There is no provision in the constitution which allows for any other process to take place for the purposes of filling in the vacancies. So we are very worried on our part as defenders of the constitution that there's been this glitch by the Attorney General. But to come after the hearing to seek to join at this very late stage, we are taken aback. But we only hope that this matter will be concluded as soon as possible, because we don't want our people of Kwacha and Kabushi to remain without an MP until 2026. I think that would be very unfair.
In their said petition, the duo wants a declaration that the elections held in Kabushi and Kwacha after the 27th of October and the 2nd of November 2022 will be unconstitutional, illegal, now and void. Mr. Mwanza and Sinkamba further seek a declaration that ECZ's failure to cancel the by-elections, which were set for the 15th of September 2022, when two candidates withdrew from the race, contravenes the Constitution. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Government has commenced the process of amending the Penal Code Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia and the Criminal Procedure Code Chapter 88 of the Laws of Zambia, aimed at removing the death penalty from the statutes. Justice Minister Mulambo Haimbe says part of the review relates to amending provisions relating to mandatory death sentence for anyone convicted of treason, murder, and aggravated robbery. Mr. Haimbe says the review process of these two pieces of legislation includes the alignment of the laws with international conventions. He says these bills, once finalized, are expected to be presented for consideration before Parliament. The minister was speaking in Lusaka Monday when he graced the 20th anniversary of the World Day Against the Death Penalty under the theme, Death Penalty, a Path Paved with Torture.
10th October of every year is the World Day Against the Death Penalty, and in the past 25 years, Zambia has not passed any execution, which makes Zambia a country that has, in simple terms, done away with the death penalty. Spearheaded by the Human Rights Commission, a call has been made that Zambia should both on paper and in practical terms do away with the death penalty, as it violates the right of persons to life. Speaking during the commemoration in Lusaka Monday, Human Rights Commission Commissioner Father Emmanuel Chukoya is urging governments to immediately enact laws that criminalizes torture and abolish the death penalty.
It is the view of the Commission and possibly of other stakeholders that after 25 years, Zambia is more than ready to abolish the death penalty. It is the view of the Commission and possibly of other stakeholders. I mean, it is for this reason that the Commission fully supports the recommendation by various stakeholders through a consultative process undertaken by government through the Zambia Law Development Commission to review the mandatory death sentence for capital offences of treason, murder, and aggravated robbery as provided for under the Penal Code and the Criminal Procedure Code, Chapter 87 and 88 of the laws of Zambia, respectively. The death penalty violates the rights to life.
And United Nations Senior Human Rights Advisor Dutima Byangwadin is happy with a strong political will by the Zambian government to abolish the death penalty.
Meantime, we have noted the President's statement to the National Assembly that the Ministry of Justice has drafted legislation to repeal the provisions relating to the imposition of the death penalty. Abolition in law also entailed amendments to defense acts and military codes and constitutional reforms to remove capital provisions, if any, and explicitly prohibit the death penalty. The law development and reform processes in Zambia are encouraging.
The Union and its member states are strongly and unequivocally against the death penalty at all times and in all circumstances. We advocate its worldwide abolition. This is a central part of the EU's global human rights policy. We therefore fully support the government's decision to put an end to the capital punishment in Zambia.
Meanwhile, Minister of Justice Mulambo Haimbe says government has commenced the process of amending the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, and the Criminal Procedure Code, Chapter 88 of the Laws of Zambia, aimed at removing the death penalty from the statutes.
The colleagues have spoken earlier that we are an action-oriented government and have taken due note of the concerns that have been raised. You will have seen in the past 12 months already the political will to ensuring that the death penalty is abolished through the pronouncements made by His Excellency the President, aforementioned, and also through the fact that Cabinet has given approval in principle for the amendment of the Penal Code and Criminal Procedure Code, all leading towards the ultimate goal of abolishing the death penalty.
In the first years of the United Party for National Development UPND administration, President Hakainde Hichilema committed to abolishing the death penalty using the right channels. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia Federation of Disability Organizations, ZAFOD, has demanded affirmative actions towards tackling challenges facing cross-cutting disability. ZAFOD Board Chairperson Catherine Kaseketi has underscored the need to create an inclusive society. She made the remarks during a breakfast meeting with parliamentarians to challenge them to ensure the signing of the African Disability Protocol. Meanwhile, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Attracta Chisangano, has committed to ensure that laws that support disability inclusion are enacted.
Accessibility for persons with cross-cutting disabilities means equal opportunities to be active citizens in all spheres of public life, participate in political life of the country, make choices, be elected, and decide for themselves. However, advancing the rights of persons with disabilities has remained a problem in Zambia. Wednesday, 10th October 2022, the Zambia Federation of Disability Organizations, ZAFOD, hosted members of parliament on the need to champion inclusion. ZAFOD Board Chairman Catherine Kaseketi called on lawmakers to promote disability-friendly laws.
Our strong wish is that appointments will include high-level decision-making positions in our governance system. Only then will we guarantee friendly and inclusive social services, inclusive quality education, skills training, improved health care, inclusive social security, and an inclusive social and physical environment. Only then can we hope to build our capabilities as persons with disabilities to freely and meaningfully participate in political and public lives on an equal basis.
At the same meeting, First Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Attractor Chisangano, is committed to ensure that laws that support disability inclusion are enacted. Matelo Constituency Member of Parliament, Mao Sampa, proposed that political parties inject political will on the appointment of persons with disabilities during elections.
People living with disabilities in our country continue to face numerous challenges in various spheres of their life, such as low participation in political and governance activities, lack of suitable infrastructure, inadequate educational facilities, inadequate mainstreaming of disability in the overall legislative framework, and continued stigmatization from some sections of society in the country. However, it is pleasing to note that the government of the Republic of Zambia has also continued to place the welfare of people with disabilities high on its agenda.
And Lundazi Member of Parliament, Brenda Nyelenda, stated that infrastructure being constructed now going forward must be disability friendly.
It's fine, but not the entire executive as people with disabilities. Let's allow the actual people concerned to be involved. And I'm glad the Deputy Speaker is here. It will mean then even Parliament building we will need to accommodate the structures for those with disabilities to access the chamber. We need to put the elevator strictly for them. But even within those with disabilities, no dictatorship. The leaders should be elected. So in each province, we need to have primaries so that amongst themselves, they come up with top 5 who will be on the ballot. Then the people in the province, they choose. So that there's democracy. One day I'll be happy to see a mayor, someone with disabilities.
What I want you to do is, it begins with you, the person who is living with a disability. Once you demystify it for the other person who is next to you, it will be very easy.
I noted that children who need wheelchairs and other academic devices, Save the Children, I think you raised that, we ensure that those children, they get them as part of our CDF. So the talk about CDF is correct. It's a development opportunity that is thrown to all of us. His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema has that vision to ensure that every child is highly supported to be back in school. Not only to fill the classrooms, but to improve the quality of education. And improving the quality of education means the facilities in terms of the infrastructure, the devices, and the other learning and teaching aids are provided for.
One only hopes the commitments made by the lawmakers will come to fruition in order to realize an inclusive Zambia. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take off our first commercial breaks. We'll be back with more after this.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Thank you for staying with us. We continue with the rest of the main news. The Zambia Statistics Agency, ZAMSTATS, has started proceeding the 60% outstanding balances for enumerators and supervisors who took part in the 2022 Census of Population and Housing. ZAMSTATS Interim Statistician General Mlenga Msepa says the payments will strictly be subject to the fulfillment of the contract obligations between the agency and the field staff. Mr. Mlenga says that the delays have been due to various factors, among them ensuring that enumerators who participated in the exercise return the equipment before they can be credited. He says there are some names that are appearing on the list of those to be paid. The 60% did not appear on the first list, which they paid the 40%, hence the names have been sent back to the districts for verifications. Mr. Msepa has assured that government has the money to pay the workers and that whoever will not receive their salaries should contact the agency.
I would like to inform all the 22 census field staff and the public that ZAMSTATS has commenced the processing of 60% outstanding balances for enumerators and supervisors. This also includes the zonal census coordinators who we started also processing. Further, I would like to assure the enumerators and the public that money is available, because there's been this issue that is money available or it's not available. Money is available to pay all outstanding allowances. Now, what is key? The payments will strictly be subject the fulfillment of the contract obligations between the agency and the field staff. And according to the contracts, the 60% balance will be paid upon fulfilling the following conditions: 100% coverage for all the housing units and households, and certification of the assigned enumeration areas. This simply points to the fact that all enumerators were required to do 100% coverage of the assigned enumeration areas.
Commuter magazine team leader Liswaniso Mwanalushi says the sale of alcohol in bus stations and markets should not be allowed to continue, stating that most bus drivers and conductors face social and economic problems tend to turn to these liquor stores to ease their burdens. Speaking in line with the commemoration of World Mental Day, which falls on the 10th of October every year, Mr. Liswaniso states that the mental health of people like bus drivers and conductors who ferry people every day should not be taken for granted, adding that there is need to make mental health officers in such places to offer services such as counseling. Meanwhile, in a separate interview, a mental health advocate, Patrick Chama, notes that the cases of suicide that keep being recorded in the country nearly on a monthly basis show that there is need for more awareness on where people can get the help.
To most Zambians, people in need of mental health services are often associated with not being sane, and this has caused many to shun away from such services and find alternatives to deal with their mental health problems. Most people have, as a result, turned to alcohol, drugs, illicit sexual activities, or even suicide in seeking relief. Speaking in line with World Mental Health Day, which is commemorated on 10th October every year, Commuter magazine team leader Liswaniso Mwanalushi, however, says there is need to identify key populations in need of urgent mental health services, adding that places like bus stations should have mental health facilities readily available, as bus drivers are responsible for the safety of many people. Mr. Mwanalushi has noted an increase in the sale of alcohol at facilities such as bus stations, stating that this presents an opportunity for alcohol abuse among drivers in need of mental health services, hence endangering the lives of commuters.
So the issue of alcohol abuse, like when we talk about in the markets and the bus station, excessive intake of that cachaça, for instance, it will have an effect on the way you comprehend things. It affects the way you respond to your surrounding. People stop thinking proper. They stop eating proper, and then also it compromises their safety, like sexuality. The guard is dropped. Any girl or any guy, they will sleep with, and they won't use protection because their state of mind is warped. So going forward, we need to reduce on alcohol intake bus station, especially illicit brews.
Meanwhile, a mental health advocate, Patrick Chama, notes that mental health awareness has not been up to standard in Zambia, hence the high number of suicides that are being recorded monthly.
We are all aware that people are dying day in, day out. They are dying from suicidal ideas. Why? Because of we are not doing that much in terms of awareness. This is why we are encouraging each and everyone as a Zambian to pay particular attention to our brothers and sisters whom we are found with. This can only be achieved if we take a total participation in the mental health, spreading the mental health awareness. Today, on this day, let us consider our brothers and sisters who are suffering from suicidal ideas.
The 2022 World Mental Health Day is being celebrated under the theme, Make Mental Health and Well-Being for All a Global Priority, which speaks to recognizing various dimensions of mental health and providing responses to those in need for a progressive society. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Youth in Action for Disability Inclusion of Zambia Executive Director Ian Banda says the disability sector still faces challenges in accessing COVID-19 vaccination. In an interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Banda notes that the COVID-19 myths within the disability family, especially in Kanyama compound, is still high, urging the people in charge with the responsibility to give COVID-19 jobs to visit these areas and sensitize the people. He says taking the COVID-19 vaccination is important as it helps one prevent themselves from getting the virus or reduce the severity of the disease. Government is on the path to vaccinate at least 70% of the eligible population against the COVID-19 by December 2022.
The COVID-19 vaccines as youth with disabilities, we still have myths and misconceptions. However, during our study on our Corona Response Project, the one with Cheshire Home Society of Zambia, we noted the concerns that a lot of persons with disabilities are still shunning away to access their COVID vaccines. Myself here, I did my COVID vaccine a few weeks ago. And I'm a testimony that it has really helped me, despite the myths and misconception, that is not true. And however, I'm still using my knowledge and my experience because I've gotten the vaccine to educate my fellow youths with disabilities. However, it's a struggle because most of them still believe that when they get the vaccines, maybe in the next 10 years, 5 years, they will die, which is not true. So we have more that needs to be done, and I wish to encourage persons with disabilities to get the COVID vaccines to protect themselves from the COVID-19, as they are the most vulnerable to get COVID, with the challenges that they face in terms of inaccessibility to information, accessibility to physical barriers, as well as having challenges in maintaining the social distance as well. So the COVID vaccines is a plus as persons with disabilities, because with all these challenges that we go through, we'll be able to protect ourselves as persons with disabilities.
3 people have died while 8 others are admitted to the Kasama General Hospital after they were involved in a road traffic accident in Kasama District. Kasama District Commissioner Elizabeth Goma, who confirmed the accident to Zanis, said the mishap involving an ambulance and a and the motorbike happened yesterday around 19:30 in Kasama village. She explained that the ambulance carrying 7 people, which was coming from Mwamba Rural Health Post, collided with an oncoming motorcycle. Ms. Goma said the ambulance was carrying patients, medical personnel, and other people going to Kasama Hospital. She explained that the motorcycle rider and his 2 passengers died on the spot, while the people in the ambulance were injured and admitted to the hospital. Ms. Goma has called on the police and the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RATSA, to intensify patrols in the district to avoid unnecessary loss of lives. She said most of the accidents could be avoided if motorists were adhering to safety measures on the road. We'll take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti for your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We now get into our international item. Palma area in Mozambique has been a base for militant group Al-Shabaab for the past several months. The arrival of Rwandan forces in August 2021, however, has brought relative security to the area, enabling most people to return home. Only last week, the United Nations warned that the conflict had not subsided, but the Rwandan forces displayed confidence in a still precarious security situation in the gas-rich region. Mozambique's security forces are ill-trained and equipped compared to their Rwandan colleagues, as they are little trusted by locals. In other news, Algerian and French prime ministers have expressed their wish to intensify warm relations after growing rapprochement between the president of the two countries in late August. Here's a roundup of international news.
The Palma area in Mozambique has been a base for militant group of Al-Shabaab for the past several months. The arrival of Rwandan forces in August 2021, however, has brought relative security to the area, enabling most people to return home. But only last week, the UN warned that the conflict has not subsided. The Rwandan forces displayed confidence in a still precarious security situation in the rich oil region.
Normally incidences, we get isolated incidents of one attack here and there, but very few people. It's not really a main stronghold like the way it was in Mosimbo and Deprived. Anyway, so we can say to a large extent that the insurgent has been defeated.
Mozambique security forces are ill-trained and equipped compared to their Rwandan colleagues, and they are little trusted by locals.
The next phase will be to try and see if the security sector can be reformed to such a point that they will be poised to deal with security after the departure of the Rwanda Security Force.
A year on, calm has returned to the area, and so have most of the Kiyunga inhabitants. Rwandan troops have secured the key districts of Palma and MOZAMBIQUE, formerly jihadist strongholds.
Well, right now things are a little bit more controlled. I would say things are improved. Yeah, if we compare to the moments that the situation took place, the attack, to now, I would say things are better now. Because people can move, we can do everything, we can go to school, we can buy wherever we want. So things are okay now, I would say that.
The conflict has now spilled into the neighboring province of Nampunla, which witnessed 4 attacks by armed groups in September, affecting at least 47,000 people and displacing 12,000 according to the UN last week.
Algerian and France's prime ministers have expressed their wish to intensify warm relations after growing rapprochement between the presidents of the two countries in late August. The wish was expressed Sunday in Algiers at a state visit of the French Prime Minister alongside a 15-member top-level delegation. Both leaders also signed new bilateral agreements on economic cooperation, tourism and culture. Over the past few months, in line with the Algiers Declaration, our discussions have aimed to better manage and organize the movement of people between our two countries. We have discussed ways of encouraging student, scientific and artistic mobility. I am thinking of the artist residency program and, of course, economic mobility. On the political side, we comfortably noted together the quality of political dialogue between the two countries on all levels and especially between the two countries' presidents. The French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne began her visit on Sunday with memorial gestures, following the example of President Emmanuel Macron during his trip in late August, which after months of tension helped to warm relations between the two countries. Egypt's and Greece's foreign ministers have rejected a controversial maritime and gas deal signed last week between Libya and Turkey. Meeting in Cairo on Sunday, both ministers argued such agreements over oil and gas exploration in the Mediterranean, Libya's offshore waters and national territory were a threat to regional stability. We stress that the outgoing unity government in Tripoli does not have the authority to conclude any international agreement or memoranda of understanding, and we agreed on the importance of the international community and the United Nations taking a clear and strong position to maintain the requirement of legitimacy in Libya in accordance with Security Council resolutions and the outcomes of the Paris and Berlin tracts.
Turkey seeks once again to take advantage of a turbulent situation in Libya in order to further destabilize the Mediterranean region and establish a regional hegemony. I was glad to see that all key stakeholders, as well as the European Union, have publicly denounced those plans. No one can build new facts on the basis of illegal and illegitimate actions. No one can ignore geography. No one can create a virtual world.
Cairo and Athens have strengthened ties in recent years, including cooperation in developing energy resources, combating terrorism, and signing new maritime border agreements with Cyprus.
We now get into our sports news. The Football Association of Zambia FAZ has received with profound shock and devastation news that Chipolopolo captain ENOCH MWEPU'S has been diagnosed with a hereditary heart condition. Past President Andrew Kamanga says the association will wait to hear from the player and medics on the next step. He is saddened by the news that MWEPU'S will no longer be able to play football on the advice of medics. Mr. Kamanga explains that the football governing body remains at his full disposal for him and his family in this dark moment. Brighton Hove Albion Football Club head of medicine and performance, Adam Brett, revealed that MWEPU was diagnosed with a hereditary heart condition that can worsen with time and puts the player at risk of suffering a potentially fatal cardiac event. MWEPU has been admitted to a London hospital since being airlifted from Bamako on September 25th for further medical tests. Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. The Human Rights Commission claims Zambia is ready to abolish the death penalty. ECZ refutes allegations on leadership vacuum. Parliamentarians commit to enact disability-friendly laws. And in international news, Rwandan forces display confidence amid precarious security situation in Mozambique. And in sports, the Zambian football community devastated by MWEPU'S retirement on medical grounds. Before we go, our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Proverbs 19 verse 20 to 21, and it reads, "Listen to advice and accept instruction, and in the end you will be wise. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.